have down here is POS function setup. Now, POS function setup, this is basically for adjusting the various menus that show up in your front end. Now, this is not the menu item menus I'm talking about, but actually the function menus. We have the manager function menu, we have the sales function menu. And within here, you'll see, for example, I've got by default here the manager function menu showing up in front of me. And remember when we hit manager within the front end, and I've got all those buttons that show up, and we walk through each one of those? Well, those buttons are reflected across within here. And so you'll see, for example, I've got sales functions. So within here, I select on the manager menu, there's sales functions, set weather, back office. Those are the first three buttons that show up within there. Now, I also have some other symbols that show up within here as well. First of all, I got a little green down arrow, which means that there is an associated submenu that's also tied into this particular function. If I hit sales function, then it's going to take me to a sales submenu, okay, which is actually one of the other menus within here. Set weather, this is a set function for that, and it will perform that given function. Back office, it will take me into the back office application. Now, this is actually a whole separate exe. You see here, I've got exe set up for that because I can run back office, from its own separate exe within my Windows desktop, for example. I don't need to go into the front end to do it. So, with all this kind of functionality, there's a lot you can do with this. First of all, I can reassign the position of any of these functions. So for example, I don't want set weather there, I want it maybe over here. It's just a matter of click and drag, and you can move these buttons around to different locations. Other things we can do as well, you'll see on the right hand side I've got all of these different applications that I can also add in here as well. So for example, if I want to do the tender balancing for the overall establishment, I can just do a click and drag on here, and now this button has tender balancing moved into it. Or if I want to do something like report viewer, then I can stick in report viewer. And report viewer is a whole separate exe, so it'll be brought across as well. So there's lots of things you can do like that. Actually, if there's also something in here, let's say image updater. Okay, this is for updating your images of the truck and the delivery things, sale types and methods of payment, so like that. And if I want to do some kind of external updating like that, I can put that in there. If I don't want it, again, I can drag it back here. Or another thing I can do is just drag it up to the trash can, and it'll knock it out of there as well. Now you'll see image updaters back in here. So you're not really affecting anything here other than taking it out of this whole list. Now we also have this thing here that says show all. If I select on this, this is all functions, all menus. And so from here I can take something within another menu, like let's say sold in item, and I can actually put it right within that button position on the manager function screen. And so now I have that capability in there as well. Some other things that we can also apply within this is if I go to the empty button, I can right click on it, and you'll see I've got within here it says new function. If I select on new function, I can actually program in a whole new application within here. Now one that I did, just as an example, because you probably saw it in there, was Scott. Okay, here's one that I did on a previous thing. I'll go into edit on that. So here's Scott. I have help memo, and in here you can just put in any kind of text that would apply to, explaining what this particular thing does. And then I have this checkbox that says run program. And then from here, you can identify what that exe is. So the nice thing about this is basically, again, for salespeople on this one, is that you can actually apply external programs into the PixelPoint menus as well. So that I hit on manager function menu, and if they need to get into a spreadsheet, an accounting program, a word processor, whatever it happens to be within the front end, then you can actually do that directly from here just by programming the external exe into that particular thing. And then from there, I select on OK, and there's the application right within there. Also within this as well, you can apply a security level to it as well. So if I've got a game of solitaire that I may want to play within the front end, not that you want to do that, but you can do it, then you can have that in there, but I can say only managers can do that, in which case then you can apply a security level to it. Also, we have some additional parameters within here. A lot of it technical-based stuff. I really wouldn't worry too much about this. This is really the real meat and potatoes of programming and all of these different things. And if you decide, no, I don't want it, then I can either click it to the right or bring it up to the trash can, and it's out of there. Now, in this, we also have a lot of other things as well. First of all, we got the table one. Okay, table, set number of customers, transfer, check, move, table. Okay, so you may recall that that's the sales function one that is when you're within a transaction. We also have employee as well. This is one of the submenus. Remember when we went into manager, employee functions, then within here we got things like good performance, poor performance, and so on like that. We also have sales, okay, day view sales, day finish sales. There's the end of day process and so on. Product, this is for anything product related, okay, so within here like sold in, sold out, bar interface, countdown, that kind of stuff. Special, shutdown system, exit POS software, again one of the submenus on that. Now we also have within here as well, setup menu as well. And within this, you can actually program in external programs or additional buttons that can be applied within the back office. Okay, so when you're setting up your PixelPoint system, the setup menu is part of that. And then within here we've got back office. And this is where you can actually program in additional programs that can be accessed through the back office as well. So lots of really great little things like that. Oh, and finish form. And so there's additional ones here as far as no tax and void and quantity and so on like that. So lots of great little things that you can program into this. And within here, there's all kinds of functions. I won't go into, we're just too short on time, but there's all kinds of additional really great little functions that you can program in here that you may find that, oh, I didn't know PixelPoint could do that as well. So it's worth taking a look at some of these things as well, going in, and if you find something in here that, oh, I never saw that one before, then you can actually select on it and just see what it does. For those who are experienced installers, you'll notice that we've also taken some of the stuff from Pixel Base and applied it in here as well. So for example, here's one, move open transactions in the current day. This was actually a function that used to be offered within Pixel Base, and we've actually taken it out of there now and made it available within here that you can apply this within here. This is for situations, just for anyone who doesn't understand what I'm talking about, is for situations where I've got rogue transactions that may be saved in the system and have never been closed. Okay, in a 24-hour operation, it is possible, for example, for a guy to come in, he orders a cup of coffee, changes his mind, gets up, walks away, and the staff's too busy to notice that he's gone, and he never gets his coffee, and the check is never closed. And then 6 months from now, the end of day is starting to take a little bit longer and longer to process. The reason being is it's looking back all the way back into old previous days to see, oh, I've still got open transactions, so here they are. But they've all disappeared in the system. So what you can do is just use this to bring them all into current day, and then you can clear them out from there. That's just the technical end of what I'm talking about. But there's lots of different functions that you can program within here.